Fear, envy, jealousy, impatience. All of these emotions are very negative and are completely detrimental to creative thinking. You know, when we get caught up in these modes of thinking that take a negative turn and we're anxious and we're worrying about the future and worrying about all the things that need to get done, we need to take a step back and look at things from a bigger perspective and realize that the act of worrying isn't productive at all, and what you're actually doing is taking mental energy that can be applied to your work in a completely different direction that doesn't result in anything. You know, as creatives, I think we worry a lot, not only because as artists we're inherently very sensitive beings, but because the path of a creative is one of uncertainty. You know, uncertainty about our financial well-being, uncertainty about how good our work is, uncertainty about how our peers will perceive our work, and so forth. You know, I think it's really easy, especially in the early stages, to get so caught up in this stuff that it ultimately takes away from us being creative, and sometimes it even gets so overwhelming that we give up altogether, which is obviously extremely counterproductive and tragic in a way. So after 10 years of composing and kind of navigating these kind of issues, I still haven't fully conquered the tendency to get caught in these ruts of being worried or anxious. But here's a few things that have greatly helped me along the way. Understanding that we can't speed up time or expedite this process. No matter how much we want to, we can't force that knowledge and experience into our minds. Nothing can replace actual experience. I can sit around and dream about the beautiful symphonies I might create, but the hard reality is that nothing can replace the decades of time that's required to get to a place where you can translate what's in your mind out into the world for other people to perceive. With that in mind, remembering that in order to gain experience, you have to make a lot of mistakes. You have to experiment and fail some more. And the only way to actually sustain this long term is to find a way to separate your ego as much as possible from your work. Early on in my composing career, I got into a really bad place where I was very, very hypercritical of my work, to the extent that I rarely would want to share it with other people, and even to the extent that I kind of stopped writing for a while. But I think the mistake that I was making, now that I can look at it from an older, wiser perspective, is that I was getting so caught up in the ego aspect. The work that I put out is not necessarily a direct reflection of the creative potential that I actually have. Remember to celebrate the small milestones. Every little thing you accomplish is actually a monumental step forward. Maybe it's learning a little bit about compression or orchestration or mixing. These little steps are a sign that you're making progress and you're growing towards your ultimate goal. Try not to measure your own value relative to the others around you, especially if you haven't decided what in life is the most valuable. Don't forget to spend quality time developing friendships and maintaining relationships with your family, because in the event that something monumental does happen and you lose everything, it's your friends and family that are going to be the anchor, the stability, and are going to help you and put you in a position where you can get back on your feet. Those are the stabilizers. Those are the things that should be the constant in your life, because God knows, as an artist, constancy is not a reality. Things are up and down. You create a great piece of music, then you create a horrible one. Money's great, money's bad. You need these constants in your life to kind of hold on to when things are particularly turbulent. Try to channel your feelings of jealousy or envy into inspiration and motivation. Be competitive, but don't be negative. You should love and respect your fellow creatives, because ultimately these are the people who can understand you the most.